Welcome to One-on-One. I'm your host, Kevin Mullin. My guest on this edition of One-on-One is Kari Binley. Kari is the Executive Director of Sustainable San Mateo County. Kari, thank you very much for joining us on the program. So tell us a little bit about Sustainable San Mateo County. Those of us in the public arena know all about this agency. I know you just had a successful fundraising dinner, but for those that aren't initiated, what is the group all about?
Well, Sustainable San Mateo County is actually a nonprofit. Many people think that we are a county organization, but in fact we're a nonprofit that's been around since about 1992. And our goal is to help illuminate, educate, and report on sustainability issues. And what makes us unique is that we really look at what we call the triple bottom line, which is not just the environment, but also how it plays into social equity and the economy. You really can't, improve the environment at the cost of the people in the community, and vice versa. You can't, grow the economy at the cost of the environment. So we really try and highlight how those three things work together. So
for some time, it was sort of mutually exclusive concepts, but we've come to realize that you can have a successful economy within the context of environmental sustainability and all of that, and you're sort of at the center of that,
right,
understanding in what you're doing in the community. So I understand that the organization is doing a lot on energy efficiency, a term that's been around for decades, but from a practical standpoint, what are you doing in San Mateo County on this issue? And I know that you're dealing with individuals, homes, residents, getting them engaged in this green movement. Talk about that.
Right, okay. Well, energy efficiency for your home can be looked at in three different ways. It's your behaviors, turning on and off your lights, adjusting your thermostat, things like that.
The basics.
Yeah, replacing your light bulbs. There's also the electricity usage, so having the right kinds of appliances, getting vampire power switches for that big DVR and plasma TV that you might have. But the third way, which is a kind of a more complex concept, is what we call the building envelope. And what that is that's it's how your house is built or how your house is functioning as a system, as it relates to your, air leakage, duct leakage, your HVAC system, insulation, puncture holes, the whole thing. And so what we're trying to do is help people understand how those issues not only affect your energy efficiency, but your health and your comfort as well. And so the way that we're doing this is kind of a unique way. It's called our Energy Ambassador Program, and we take a Tupperware party approach to energy efficiency. And what's fun about this is that, if you and I were just to talk about, Kevin, let me ask you about your ductwork, you would be like, I'm so bored already. But by having people at your home and seeing and feeling and touching and see, being able to comprehend it in a much better way, people get it, they understand it, and they can then apply it to their home. And what we found is that at first, when we first tried it, we thought, well, this is a total crapshoot because we have no idea, if anybody's going to even care. But quite frankly, they were totally engaged in the content. People stay for like an hour longer than we anticipate them. Could be because of the wine that we provide, but
it helps.
Yeah, but so that's what we're doing right now, is really trying to.
So let me ask you, this can be a money saver for people.
Yes.
I have a question about if you have the means, if you're well off or upper middle class, say. You have the financial means to make some of those investments in your home to then save money over the long term. If you're on the lower end of the socioeconomic scale, what are some things that people can do that don't cost a lot of money, but you really do see it yields savings over time? There may be I guess what I'm getting at is there may be a preconceived notion that these are really very, very expensive improvements. And of course, if you have a large home, it is expensive. But
right.
What are some practical things people can do?
Well, not to be redundant, but changing out your light bulbs is a very common thing. you can save money, not necessarily energy, but doing your laundry at nighttime or running your pool pump at nighttime when energy is less expensive. You can weatherize your house. Weatherizing your house is a really important thing, and it also makes you a lot more comfortable. Just those little things. Turning off your power strips when you're not using your TV or stereo or your cell phone. All of those things add up.
There's an aggregate effect to all of that at the end of the year. All of those small actions do add up. So talk about saving water and recycling, these other elements that the organization is involved in. And I'm interested to hear, this is certainly a kind of a fashionable trend right now, to the whole green movement. And some people are doing some things that are really very meaningful. Others maybe doing it because it's kind of the cool thing to do. How widespread is this? Are you really seeing an impact neighborhood by neighborhood? Are people really changing their lifestyle in a meaningful way on these issues, like water conservation and recycling and these things that we all hear about all the time?
Well, I think in general for sustainability, it's a baby step approach. If you want people to embrace sustainability, sustainability in general is a very large topic, and it encompasses so many different things. But as people accomplish one task like recycling, we've got a pretty good recycling program and people actually recycling throughout the county. And it's taken many, many years to get to that place. But now, you see people with their little bags at the grocery store. So now that's one more thing. So we just kind of add another task towards sustainability over time. And over time, maybe we can get to the grand poobah of sustainability, where everybody's eating their local foods, has a gray water system, solar on their house. But, we have to have the vision of what that looks like so that we can eventually get there.
Right. And the organization does put out something called the Indicators Report, which is a very visible representation, not just of what the organization is involved in and your organization's message, but also what is happening community by community across the county. And is your general sense, without getting into the specifics, city by city and how everybody's doing, the report is available through the organization. Is that online, by the way?
It is online.
Okay, so we'll give the web address in just a little bit so interested parties can read that. But generally speaking, how are we doing in the county? How are cities doing? It seems that there's incremental progress, as you suggest, on all of these fronts, really.
Right. Well, of course, we would like to think that our indicators report, which covers 32 different indicators, both, again, environment, social, and economic, have helped pave the way for all of the inroads in the county. But quite frankly, the state has mandated a bunch of mandates to the cities that they have to pay attention to. And the result is that the cities have gone leaps and bounds above where they were a couple of years ago so that they can adhere to these mandates. And so what we're seeing is that cities have sustainability coordinators. They're much more focused on these issues than they were, say, 10 years ago, 5 years ago.
Right. It seems as though there's something of a competitive environment where my city wants to jump on a particular topic because we know another city south of us in the peninsula, for example, is there on that issue. So there really is kind of a coalescing and hopefully a race to the top kind of a situation.
And the good news is that the cities, even though they're competitive, they really work well together to learn on best practices and try and implement similar programs.
In just about a minute, your organization is really at the hub of this movement, this sustainability movement in San Mateo County. You're seeing results, and we're seeing progress. So I'm being told that we need to wrap in 30 seconds here. So before we close, how can people get more involved with not only the organization, but how can they learn about some of these practical things that you're talking about with regard to energy efficiency?
Well, we have a website called the Sustainability Hub, www.sustainabilityhub.net, and it helps people take action in their local communities on the sustainability issues that we care about.
Very good. Kari Binley, Executive Director of Sustainable San Mateo County, I want to thank you for joining us. This has been One on One. I'm Kevin Mullin. Thanks for watching.